Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12-gauge autoloader.
Sure.
The 45 long slide.
Yep.
With laser sighting.
You betcha.
The Uzi 9mm.
Yes, sir.
Phased plasma rifle in a 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay. They'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
Now you can feel that squeaky clean sensation like none other with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash is a unique natural formula not found in any other oral care products. With a gentle combination of zinc, folic acid, myrrh, and clove oil, Vitamer effectively whitens teeth, removes plaque, and freshens breath, and it does it naturally without any harmful chemicals. Visit us online at Vitamer.com. That's VITAMYR.com. Or call us today to place your order at 1-888-558-8482. That's 1-888-558-8482. Keep your teeth and gums healthy with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer, nature's answer to healthy teeth and gums. And remember, it's all completely natural. Available at participating health food stores nationwide.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we'd hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun. Permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper, so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm, so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm, and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn. And your daughters visit doctors, so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores, and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you will fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear, be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand, defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now, as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first hour of the afternoon intelligence report. I'm Mark Gorky. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, Southwest, East, Northeast, and South. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com, IndianaFreedomTalkRadio.com in memoriam, and you are on AM and FM micro stations, CB base stations, and Ultra-Net, Hallmark, and Golden Spike technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon to all of our friends out there in Lower 49, including the great state of Jefferson, along with the outlying states, the outlying territories, and the clock. It is 5:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Communications Tuesday. It is the 30th of June. We are ticking away the end of the month here now, and we're now into the other part of summer, and the incompetence and the dinkweeds and the other fools that we have that are in the system betraying us are doing everything they can to bollocks everything up that they can. And, of course, it's 2012, Old Earth calendar, 2012 year of conflict, year of betrayal, 12th year of open Fabian socialist and Soviet socialist occupation of America with a K, the communists in Provo, Utah. And this is where you have all these move-in pieces of trash, the excrement and filth from California, or from the public fool system. And we have a caller. Who do we have?
This is Tom from Northern Michigan. It's 2020, not 2012.
Did I say 2012? Oh, wow. Well, 8 years difference. We should have shot him then, too. Actually, that much sooner. And with Bummer in place would...
Yeah, the world's going to come.
So a 2020 Old Earth calendar, 2020 year of conflict, year of betrayal, the 12th year of open Fabian socialist. I'll correct myself just in case somehow I missed that. Anyway, real quick here before we go any farther, a little audio for everybody. Let's see if I can get it right. Shots fired in Provo, Utah, and this is Antifa/BLM and their peaceful, warm, fuzzy, oh, by the way, they're lying protest as they try to shoot a driver in a vehicle that they're overrunning and beating on and stomping on, and of course, in their peaceful demonstration, because after all, they're just going to tell us what to do. And, well, both sides, go ahead and keep doing what they're doing. But here, I'll play the audio track. It's 21 seconds long. Shots fired in Provo. And for everybody, again, it was caught on video, a couple different cameras, and of course it's the Antifa types trying to murder the drivers of the cars. If you can't get to them with the razor-bladed skateboards or cave their head in with a cudgel, then, well, they're going to start shooting people because you're the bourgeoisie property owner and an American. Antifa, Black Lives Matter are not American. They are going to be treated as such, and when this kicks off, it's going to be in spades. But by the way, when the government steps in to try and help them, they're going to go too. I want everybody to be ready for that. I don't anybody standing next to me going to brain fart on this. You're going to have certain elements which are the other pressure from above, pressure from below crap. This is the turd, bottom-feeding filth and excrement from below. And then you've got the other part, the government employees from the other end of government. All of these other characters are being paid for by foreign elements. The Israelis are tied in, Washington, D.C. is tied in, and the Chinese. And now they're trying to pull this garbage. Well, it's the Iranians, stuff it up your ass. You know, one way or another, the old Jewish mob is trying to flip the get to pull. You notice how they do this. This is when they do the subliminal repeat, but it's actually macro slash in your mind and out in the open. There's the Iranians standing on the blah, 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 and kiss my hind end. Who brought all these Muslims in? The Jewish mob did. The Jewish mob did. The Jewish people in the government brought the Muslims in. Who's telling the government what to do? Wasn't the Muslims. That's BS. This is that fake-ass two sides that don't exist in the first place, and of course the tentacles go right back, if you follow through, from where the mouth is being moved by the tip of the tentacle, and it goes down through and out their bunghole, goes back to the same tribe causing the problems in all directions. Everybody understands that. Everybody's ready for that. So here we go. Anyway. A couple other things. Yeah, everybody's boarding everything up. Why didn't they just make solid concrete / fill in the black kind of thing? That would be cool, rather than, just putting plywood over. Just, make it look more prisonish than, it already is. That would be great, okay? And, now, of course, the Boogaloo, yes, I know, somebody caught that too. The Boogaloo, labeled the Boogaloo is a dangerous organization and banned 500 groups and pages. Of course they're going to do that. The leftists are making their move. The leftists are making their move. The leftists are making their move. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. It will soon be time to clean house, and that means getting rid of the ass hats behind the curtain that make that bump over there. Follow the tentacles back. The organic sandbags up front, you can always hunt them down, okay? But see that bump in the curtain there? You put the bullets in that one first. And then we can watch the little blood trail come from underneath, and we still clear the curtain, put a few more bullets in each one of the moving parts of the creature, and then get on with hunting down those that thought it would be fun to play that game. Okay, so, yeah, we can handle that. That's not a problem. Here we go. And let's see. Well, everybody knows what you do. It's time to have a new name and, make up a new name and put 1,000 other accounts out there and go to town, people. You know how to do it. Non-stop. The other side's got to waste more time taking stuff down than it is for you. Take a few minutes and put it all up where it belongs. Just a heads up there. Anyway, it's obvious as we get now to the end of the month, going into the beginning of the next month, that the situation is such that what we're going to see here is a series of actions, Mossad agents doing bombings, coordinated, mercenary-trained, communist agents, whichever. Forgive me, don't worry about the acronym. It's really irrelevant. But they're going to continue to expand and accelerate the actions. In turn, we are going to have to deal with each of these tiers. So I cannot stress enough, organize, arm, equip, and train as militia. Establish communications, transportation, and medical units now. You don't want to react, you want to respond. Your heart rate may go up a little bit, but your breathing should be controlled. You bring everything into focus. You put bullets on target. You hunt down those that try to escape. Your blocking forces make sure that they do not. And you proceed with the actions to mop up and then go find who sent them. Let nothing but a rumor of their destruction return to where they came from. Yeah. As a matter of fact, yes, something else here. Okay, thank you very much. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This tells you that they're going to be trying to do something. Now, the Israelis will be the ones doing the bombing at Mount Rushmore. If they do anything of whatever kind of spoilage over at Mount Rushmore, the federal government will let them in. I will repeat, whatever they do at Mount Rushmore, how are they going to get there since everybody has an idea that they're going after it? Okay? So the Democrat Party begins demonizing Mount Rushmore, refers to July 4th celebration as glorifying white supremacy. The bitches, well, you know what happens. They just need to die. But that's, a sidebar. Again, in the process, everybody needs to pay attention to the program. We all know what it is that we need to do. Especially spread the word. They keep pumping this and throwing Mount Rushmore. It doesn't mean it's the only spot. In fact, it's out in the middle of nowhere. I can picture them allowing for something like a burst bomb on a 5-gallon pail of paint, so that blood will stream down over the forehead of Washington or Jefferson or whoever. They really wouldn't care, but Washington would be their first choice. The Israelis will be allowed to come in just like they did before 9/11 and set everything up. It will be the Israeli Mossad that does it in conjunction with U.S. agents. And then we will be aghast because we just didn't know how any of this could happen. If it happens, it will be because of direct cooperation by agents of the federal government, agents of the lodge working with the state police, and foreign agents such as the Mossad and their Chinese counterparts operating inside the United States. Period. That's it. Done. All said. Finished. Now, when that happens, know who your enemy is. Don't get suckered into we got to go with the government. The government hasn't done jack squat about any of this so far. In fact, they promoted it. In fact, the school system that they demanded money from you, the public school system and the Department of Education, is federal. All these asshats have been promoting this garbage for this whole time. So it's time to get rid of the problem. Now, a couple things, communications. FRS radios are going to be cluttered, but you remember, you're spread out. It won't be as much of a problem. FRS radios are a cheap solution. This is why we're recommending it in the first place, because everybody can find them. The idea is to have as many saturation of technologies out there as possible, and that means as many different support systems as you could possibly put together and distribute. FRS radios are great for that. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, yes, that driver was shot. Thank you very much. I want to say thank you to, women. Arnold, I want to say thank you, Arnold, for follow-up on that. Gunman shot driver, then hid weapon and continued to protest, and Provo police say. This is as of today. Provo police have confirmed that one person was shot during a protest Monday night near the police department. The victim, a 60-year-old Provo resident, remained hospitalized Tuesday, but was stable, according to police. The man was not part of the protest or counter-protest that had been going on, but was just driving in the area, said Provo Police Sergeant Nisha King. The victim was driving a white SUV on University Avenue and was attempting to turn onto Center Street when a group of protesters began crowding around the vehicle. Male protester ran up to the SUV on the passenger side, pointed a gun at the driver, and shot one round through the window, according to the synopsis of the incident by Provo Deputy Police Chief John Geierman. The driver, who was struck by a bullet, hit the gas trying to leave the situation, Geierman said. Cell phone video recorded by witnesses show the SUV appearing to push through the protesters, with at least one person falling to the ground. Good. I hope they ran over their head. I wish they would run over most of them. We really need to get used to that. Don't slow down. There are no brakes on your 2-ton, 3-ton, or 4-ton vehicle. Run them over. As the SUV is speeding away, the gunman ran after the vehicle and fired a second round that went through the rear passenger window, according to police. After the shooting, video shows the gunman then conceals the firearm and continues to, quote-unquote, protest. Geierman said this same protester later approached another vehicle at 500 North and University Avenue, striking and breaking the window with a handgun. The driver of the SUV was taken to Utah Valley Hospital, where the shooting was somehow prompted by the man driving through the crowd. Let's see, whether the shooting was somehow prompted by the man driving through the crowd. First of all, it wasn't. He was moving slowly through, and the asshats get in the way. First of all, the press needs to be dragged out and executed. Just flat out dragged out and shot. Remember, if we're in the field and we're in a firefight, shoot the press. Kill every last one of them. You do understand that. That is policy. You see the press, they get shot. Why? Listen to this crap. You watch the video, you listen to this BS, and it's like, yeah, and everything they can to, oh, well, you know, all those poor little, and then they try to kill the man. Now, notice here's another thing that's missing from this. There's no information. Well, where was the man shot? Okay, well, he's in the hospital, so big deal, who cares? Well, where was he hit? Was he hit in the head? Was he hit in the face? Was he hit in the shoulder? He was shot through the window from the side of the car, which you can see in the video. So how was he shot? Notice no information on that. But all kinds of wonderful things about how the glorious Black Lives Matter and the Antifa punks, all just they're the center of the universe. You know what? Piss on them all, kill every last one of them. How's that sound? Piss on them all, kill every last one of them. Wearing a black uniform, one thing you better not be doing on our side, get used to dumping that black uniform garbage. You better be wearing something else. Black's going to get your ass shot. You do understand that, right? Antifa black, the cops are wearing black, these guys start, like they shoot this guy in the SUV, I guarantee the cops would be there to do oh yeah, that guy in the truck, he needs to be crucified, castrated, lobotomized, yeah. Time to get rid of the problem. We do this, we'll deal with both the minions and the middle and then the upper pay-for-it management as quickly as we can. But if you know any of them that are that type, obviously they're your assignment. That's what you need to do. And that's how you need to deal with it. And I won't even hesitate to say that anywhere. Nope, need to be gone. And gone sooner rather than later. So anyway, that's KSL.com, Western Radio, I believe, /Radio TV. I'm looking to see if KSL, usually there's 4. Oh, well. And it's both the internet and has apparently radio affiliate, TV affiliate too. So follow up on that one. And that is for yesterday and today. Today, of course, is the follow-up of the actual report. And again, thank you to our friends. Oh, also Nathan. I want to say thank you to Nathan for following up on that too. Got 3 or 4 of them, all one after another, basically variations on the same report. Very good. Let's see, the next one for everybody. Yeah, I know. One of the other things here real quick with regard to defense. I've told you this before, body armor. Okay, guys, armor, if all you do is take some of the cheaper vests and if you have, typically most of the cars have a bucket seat of some kind. And because of that, if you just take the vest, if nothing else, and strap it around, it's Velcroed into place. Either it's a flop-over type, which is cool. Here's a little trick. That headrest you have on the car there? Guys, those headrests come out. Did you know that? This is not communications, but it's relevant to, keeping your ass alive. Those headrests pull out to be window breakers. How many of you knew that? You'll notice you can pull the headrest right out, and they're rounded, and you're not sharp and industrial and like, man, they didn't think about this. No, they're tapered, and they're actually reinforced steel, and they're designed, obviously, to be to adjust the headrest. But you can also pull them out and use them to break the windows to get out of a car. Let's say that you fall into water or whatever, or if you're trying to get out of the car because it's a wreck. The neat thing is you pull the headrest out, you put the vest on, then you take and through the neck hole in the top, you put the headrest back in place. It's properly locked in, keeps the vest from slipping or sliding around. Now you've got an armored seat. All you had to do is put the vest in place. Now, if you want to, here's a little neat trick. A lot of these vests that you're getting are tactical. In other words, they are armored vests. The back is sometimes smooth, sometimes it has a big pouch. But the front on most of these has multiple mag pockets or whatever. Well, that's good. I want you to think about something. If you flip the front around and face the back, you now have magazine and grenade and medical stations for all of your equipment on the back of the seat for either the riders in the rear or an additional station for you to store equipment. Oh, wow. And you didn't have to add any additional pouches or anything. The stuff is already there, ready to go. Now, I checked with a company last night, and I haven't had a chance to see if I got the response back that I wanted. I've been talking to a couple of wholesalers about body armor that I've been mentioning. They are still listing most of the armor, but I do not know what the wholesale price is yet. I will hopefully have a price on that by this evening, maybe before the 8 o'clock program. If I do, we're going to work something out, and we'll try to get as much of that stuff out and into everybody's hands as quickly as we can. However, the problem is, again, that there is a press on the market right now, just like weapons. So everybody is in motion, grabbing everything that they can. So, yeah. As it is, let's see. Yes, hold on here. Yeah, now another thing real quick. Yeah, somebody's asking me about, I do not know, I've heard from somebody just about an hour ago that the couple that were on their private property in the closed community where, of course, the invaders came in to attack, and, of course, the peace-loving, peaceful, my ass, shut up, we all know better than that. The turds came in, and, of course, you have the couple that defended their property. I think what's rather fascinating about that is, let's not forget, that particular couple are all Democrats, first of all, and apparently both lawyers. At least one, the husband, is with a big law firm, one of the biggest in St. Louis, if not Midwest. Or I should say Plain States, on the Mississippi Valley. And, of course, now they're supposedly charging them. We shall see how that works and see what we can do to deal with that problem accordingly. But the guy's a lawyer. They got money, and they've got lots of friends. So this is going to be an interesting fight between the ultra-communists and the commie-lights that thought it was great to be supporting the leftist agenda. Well, the leftist agenda is kind of eating its own tail, and that's expected. That's okay. We understand how that works. And they're now going to town on each other. The rest is history, as they say, and not a surprise in any way, shape, or form. So expect that to continue to escalate. It's going to do what it's going to do. And, yeah, who cares? Some of the stuff that's out there right now, who cares? And in addition to, of course, yes, more posting. I've seen that. Yes, again, thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. More Rushmore stuff popping up left, right, up, and down. Now, guys, that's not an accident. We're headed towards the 4th of July. As was discussed, anytime the communists perform an attack, their first or initial attack in a red terror operation, in its grandest form, in its kickoff form into the earnest part of killing all of you, is typically a holiday. The Tet Offensive, 68, fireworks, stuff's going off, all of a sudden a lot of other gunfire. But there's something that most everybody forgets about with each of these communist actions. The traditional holiday typically was neutral for all parties. And in every case, the Jewish mob who ran the communists, and Vietnam was no different, the Jewish mob ran the communists there, the holidays are immediately ignored, or the holiday is ignored after having been, in a few repetitions, a neutral date. You know, Da Nang, if you know anything about Da Nang in Vietnam, before the Tet Offensive and even afterwards, it was a neutral zone. You had a beach area there. Everybody used to go, well, we would go for R&R there. Guys, everybody went for R&R there. The North Vietnamese could go there. They just simply strip out the civilian clothes. Viet Cong were there. Everybody knew that everybody was there. But everybody could be out there on the beach sucking some booze, watching the sun go by, going out and jumping in the water, and it was neutral territory. Everybody just kind of threw their hands up in the air and said, well, you got to have some place to relax. Little hint there. Intel knew this. I've had fascinating things that back in the day when I was at USEX, there were things that were brought forward as just an example of, you know, how the world works, to try and, you know, explain to people the fuzzy version of what they have, or the version that they think they know isn't what really was going on. So just a little heads up on that one. And in this case, yeah, for the 4th of July weekend, it's the next holiday coming up, and yes, it is only days away. We have an action that the enemy's probably planning for Thursday in Chelsea, Michigan. A lot of people are responding to that. Chelsea is due west of Ann Arbor, right down the I-94 corridor, due west of Dexter, as a matter of fact, which is where I'm sitting. A lot of people have already started to move. The most important thing is we want to try and get their administrative people. We want to try to get the movers, shakers, or at least the field commandants. So we're not so much worried about them getting in. We want to make sure certain ones don't get out. Everybody understand? And you know we're not handing them over to the cops. Everybody understand that, right? So if we spy any of these lieutenants or any of these, orc captains, they're going to be kept. So that is the priority. Plus, we want to pay attention. They aren't coming in on their own. They're part of a clique. We want to see who the clique is. Want to make sure that we monitor. In other words, you're not going to worry about the rabble up front. The job is to watch from above and from other vantage points who's manipulating what and who's making decisions. That's the purpose. So we're in motion on that. Blocking units will do just as we did in Hillsdale. We are having to shift some equipment, but you know what? This is good training for everybody because we are not withdrawing equipment from Hillsdale. The 8th Regimental Combat Team, Colonial Marines, decided that where we've stationed the equipment that we have there, it's a total of 18 vehicles that are actually very well prepped. One of them is completely rebuilt now. That's the one we had mechanical problems with. That unit is on standby. It's actually in a pretty good location for dealing with the center bottom of the state of Michigan. In addition, though, the 16th and the 17th Mechanized are going to be providing fast attack vehicles. We got a whole bunch of FMCs we got years ago. Break them out of the garage. Time for them to turn their wheels. Everybody's moving stuff right now, checking equipment, driving them a few miles, making sure everything's up to snuff. But we're going to move in basically what is a 62-vehicle fast attack unit. And that's to counter what we were sure is going to be the state police and the feds coming to aid Antifa in Chelsea. So, again, for our friends, nobody's going away for the weekend. If you were thinking about going out for the 4th of July, it doesn't make any sense to leave your, home ground. We got a lot of work to do locally. We have one of the traditional Wolverine Militia Corps brigades that's on the north end of Washtenaw County in Northwest. They're going to be active and mobile. In addition to that, we have 2 other units. One is from Jackson, Michigan. They're going to be coming in. I understand that several of the motorcycle clubs are already in motion. They're excited about the idea of opportunity. And something kicks off. Now, here's an interesting thing, what we have heard so far with regard to Chelsea, Michigan. Find Chelsea, Michigan on the map. The original location where the Antifa / Black Lives Matter nonsense was going on was in a park which is located on the south side of town, on the edge of the residential area, just on the edge of the residential and the next business area, which is the new business district on the south side of Chelsea on M52. Apparently, the new announcements are that they're going to go to the police station. Now, I would point out that the attacks that we've seen, and the one I just mentioned, the Antifa and Black Lives Matter types focused or changed their focus and have been attacking, like in Provo, they were after the local police station. When the person came through that was shot, that person had nothing to do with any of the activity, but as is typical with the Antifa and Black Lives Matter knuckle dragger / shoe size IQP brains, the individual was, attempted murder. They tried to shoot the guy. After all, you come up, you beat up your property and destroy it. It's perfectly okay. Well, plus also screaming you're going to kill somebody, which is what the Antifa types do. And then you're not supposed to be serious. Oh, they're not serious, even though you can see 100 videos now, if the ones that have been pulled, because they like showing people getting killed by Antifa, or at least beaten down so that you're all in fear and terror. Well, we're not in fear and terror per se, except that, the accelerator pedal works better than the brakes, so you might as well just use the accelerator pedal, and that's what everybody's learning. Don't stand there. Don't wait. Run their ass over. In fact, don't slow down. Run their ass over. Just that simple. I mean, you can't risk your life. And as is demonstrated here, as I've pointed out, a lot of people aren't going to be ready because they're just not thinking. This is now war zone America. And this is going to progressively escalate, and then finally there's going to be a proper exchange of small arms fire. The feds and the Antifa will be together on one side. The American people will be on the other. The state police will be with the Antifa also. because it's evil and bad that you protect yourself. They step back and do nothing and sit on their hands miles away from the event because they want you to be casualties. Like the guy in the truck here, casualties. That way they can cow you down. It's a lot easier when they're given their orders to do the corona beer virus lie again. Well, then they'll turn their little red eyeballs on you and start barking and frothing at the mouth like they were before. Not that they're going to change direction anyway. They're going to ride and they're going to side with Antifa / with the communists, because they are communists. You may try to argue, oh, no, yeah, oh, yes, oh, yes. And that's being very apparent by the fact that, well, like that couple, they called the police and nobody showed up. And then they called the security company and nobody showed up. So they were on their own, which is why they figured they better protect their property before they get inside and destroy things. And they did the right thing. Now, for it, the rest of their fellow traveler communists, the other Black Lives Matter / swine, pig, Yehudi trash, knuckle-dragging filth that are in the prostitutor's office and all the rest of these places, well, of course they're going to attack the property owner that pays all the taxes, by the gobs, hand over fist, because you're an easy target, because you're invested. Now, the rats, the pigs, and the bottom feeder, and the knuckle-dragging monkeys that you see out there on the street, well, they don't pay anything. But they want everything. They want everything. They deserve everything. So, okay, go ahead. Keep doing what you're doing. Another thing here real quick, medical, and again, by God, don't, like the Black Lives, the Antifa and Black Lives Matter dingleberries applying tourniquets and then not knowing how to use them, but applying tourniquets where it wasn't necessary or not knowing how to apply any of the support technology that you have, better get over it real quick and figure out you better be doing some studying fast. Okay? It's just that simple. Get it done, get it in motion now. That is a very high priority. An IFAC kit is not necessarily the only thing you want, and this is why I've pointed out for years, you also want small wound dressings. Probably the best example is the little twit that got shot in the street in Atlanta. Of course, the cameraman kept saying, get over by the car. Get over by the car. You want to be over by the car. Don't stand in the road. Get over by the... And they ignored him, and of course, then they got shot. For those people, I will remind everybody again, once you do get hit, knowing how to deal with the injury would be critical, but you also don't need some of the, like a full blowout kit for certain types of injuries. And because of this, especially since it may not be a significant bleeder, you want to save that blowout kit because maybe while you're trying to save the wounded person, they get hit again. So having lesser compresses and small bandage packs is a really good idea. In fact, it's a priority. I'll point out how my combat kit's set up. Upper left-hand corner, going all the way back to the Vietnam War era, I've got an upper compress on the left-hand side upper. I carry another compress, and all of my men do too, all the people that I've trained. Lower right in front of on the pistol belt, right in front of where the separator is, there is another small compress. Then on the fanny pack in the back, you call it a butt pack, 3-day pack, fanny pack, there's a series of grommets. I use a 1910 Carless dressing carrier. They're collector's items now, but it used to be they were cheap. I used to get them for a nickel a piece, penny a piece. Anyway, on all the butt packs, we have another small dressing there. That way, if you're face down before they have to turn or move anybody, there's dressings at all critical points that can be easily accessed from the side where the person, the side up with the casualty as you're addressing them. So you don't flip them over and move a wound channel into dirt or crud. Immediately, you pull all of his gear first. You don't use any of yours. Now, do I still carry an IFAC kit? Oh, hell yes. I've got an IFAC kit that outdoes anything you guys have. Pretty much because we bought all those Czech IFAC battle packs for Doc, and we distributed them to everybody that we have here, and it's like grossly overpacked, but that's okay. It was very efficient the way it was packed, and some of you have them, so you know what I'm talking about. And not only can I deal with something like a major wound channel once, but probably 2 or 3 times out of the same kit. But it's a really nice, tight, assembled package so that it really takes up no more space than the typical IFAC that you carry. They did a good job. The Czechs really knew what they were doing, which that happens with a lot of these other countries. They're actually better at it than we are, and they will demonstrate by example. The big thing here again is you carry your own medical. If you have a casualty, you use the person's medical first. You don't want to consume and expend material from your kit, and then somebody leaves the battlefield with their gear intact, and you get hit, or somebody else does, and all your spares are gone. So remember, everybody under SOP, if you're going to go to any of these events, everybody needs to carry a small first aid kit, again, with a basic immediate response package of some kind. You take your pick of which design you want to go with. I would remind everybody, wear a helmet, 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 wear a helmet. Repeat, like I said, somebody said, well, we're calling in artillery. If you've been listening to the program, you know why I say repeat? Repeat, repeat, drop on again, drop on again, with regard to the subject matter. Hopefully you're listening. Anyway, for all of us out there, body armor especially, very cheap for what it is. As I pointed out, I will be doing what I can to try and link up with one of the wholesalers I've known for quite a few years. They may have almost every model in stock. In theory, they show that they do. In reality, they may be out already. But the information I got last night shows me that every model that I've mentioned on the air, except for the British constabulary, but every model that we've mentioned on the air, we can access from the wholesaler/importer. And if that's the case, then we're going to be cleaning them out. We're going to take one model, we're going to wipe it off of the board. We're going to clear out his warehouse. So everybody's in motion on that. You should be too. Another thing, have a plan for entrance and for evacuation. Do not get separated from your team members. Know where everybody is. If somebody disappears and you have a crowd, it may be you've got somebody on the ground and you should be probably helping them. I'm looking around, I don't see them. How about below those guys' feet over there, because they all moved back, and guess what? Fred didn't. Fred couldn't move back because Fred got bopped in the head by one of these nutcases. Fred's in trouble, but you weren't paying attention. So here again, we don't react. You have to have plans, and you have to respond. This includes extraction SOP, standard operating procedure. You need to, and it's hard when you have so many other people and nobody's going to listen. And I know that's going to happen. You're going to have a percentage, well, you're going to tell me what to do. So they're going to be kind of like the semi-mobbish version of the Antifa on the other side, because they like that. Now, those people can be left behind when the time comes if you fall back and regroup accordingly. And as they're beat back in the event you get into a brawl or at least a hand-to-hand fight, they can be used to absorb the enemy's energy. The ones that are really not paying attention, let them absorb the enemy's energy. You regroup, and then you can either choose to advance in an organized way and then start knocking down the enemy 3-on-1, always 3 or 4 on 1. Remember, that's how you do it. Pick one, swarm it, put him down. Pick one, swarm it, put it down. And I ain't talking flailing. I'm talking intelligent, bust their elbows, bust their knees, crack them where it's going to hurt, make sure they scream a lot, make sure the enemy sees them screaming a lot. Remember, the idea is they thought they were going to put fear into all of America. That means the Lodge buddies, the kosher mafia, and their buddies in Antifa and their buddies in Black Lives Matter. Well, for the other side, we can show you the same. So for all of that's lined up on the other side against the American people, the cops, the feds, Antifa, the other feds. Oh, that's right, Black Lives Matter, the other international feds. All of those characters, we're all in the same team. You're the perceived enemy because you're a producer. You are the enemy for both of those groups, and they will demonstrate accordingly when the time comes. So, get squared away. Now, another thing. Water, as we know, but for a number of different reasons. Water, by the way, water reserves. Water is cheap. Well, yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah, except when you need it. So make sure that you've got it in vehicles, in excess. 1-gallon containers, can be tap water, it's fine. Come on, figure out how to put water in the front line where it's needed, when it's needed. Advance some water forward. Everybody should be carrying, again, some kind of utility bag or carrier. Ideally, a little backpack is great, which, by the way, you can then insert armor into. and it's another way to conceal additional body armor. If you have to turn and fall back, it's kind of nice to have something between you and that rock that might be coming in to put a snack right in your backside. So the backpack in reality is an armor component. But remember, water's there too, and that actually works to protect you. Remember, any junk between you and what might be flying in is going to help. So again, prior proper planning prevents piss-poor performance. Let's get our stuff squared away. Other locations, well, they're going to be coming back to Hillsdale. They've already been starting to flap their yap about that. That's expected. The big thing, again, is to make sure that for those units that are designated for the Hillsdale area, this weekend you guys will all be on mobilization standby. For all of us that are in other locations, such as the Chelsea area, everybody's on mobility standby as of Thursday, which, by the way, for everybody who doesn't know, Thursday is the 2nd. The 4th is Saturday. And all of the skunks on the other side, a lot of their little inner circle garbage, especially has been generated. They are obviously planning something for the holidays, a red terror wave. They are planning something. Now, the Israelis will start the bombing component using Mossad personnel, elements of the U.S. government, and Chinese. They're all cooperative because they're the ones pushing this for the global agenda. We're going to see the bombing phase kick in with the feds and the Israelis initiating that somewhere around the 3rd on, I would say. In fact, if it hasn't already started, we just haven't heard. They're doing a fine job of cleaving everything from public, the information base as quickly as they can, so I would say that you should expect to see more of the same. As quickly as they can make things disappear like that shooting in Provo, they will. Because after all, it's peaceful this and peaceful that and peaceful. Yeah, well, we're peaceful too. We're going to make it so peaceful that it'll be almost as still as, well, it'll be the peace of the grave. It will be very peaceful. Once everything is in motion, it will be very peaceful. We are going to have some really peaceful confrontations by the time we're done here. Now, another thing, withdrawal of personnel, something else you need to be ready for. Example, in Chelsea, they've moved from the park to the police station. This puts pressure off access to the hospital. But remember, as we've seen more than a few times, the Black Lives Matter peaceful / knuckle-dragging cliff ape monkey types with the two groups will attack hospitals. They will attack people trying to get into hospitals. They'll attack children, women. They don't care. Already been done, already been covered over the last 3 weeks. So one of the considerations is to have preparatory evacuation outside the area. The local hospital may be under attack, although, again, you can still work your way inside. You're going to have to use force of arms to get there. Don't trust the hospitals to be any more reliable than the cops. You figure the hospitals are cesspools of communist / lockdown / Soviet wannabes. So you're better off actually moving outside the area with evacuees if you have somebody that's injured. Know where your secondary locations are that are within reasonable distance, and be prepared to mobilize transportation. This is where pickup trucks, vans, cargo vans can be used for ambulance purposes. We recommend that you plan ahead. Another reason I have said a million times, organize medical, communications, and transportation units now. Now, I am, and in fact, I'm going to put the word out, we're looking for ambulances. We have a number of medical detachments that are ready to be squared away. Have got massive amounts of supply. I want to focus that supply, and it's going to be moved on to a new medical detachment. So we are looking for ambulances. I don't care about the age, van type, long-nose truck type. Long-nose truck type would be preferred only because of ease in maintenance. In other words, there's a lot more parts out there readily available, easy for us to, again, adapt other technologies or switch out engines, whatever work you got to do. However, if it's a cab-over van system, whatever, Ford, GM, and larger or smaller, doesn't make any difference. We're interested in all of them right now. So here's one of the things you can do. If you can, search in Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or even just local sources. You may have something just down the road. We are interested in a quantity of ambulances right now. We are not going to be able to, the government-run ones are going to be gone real quick. And because of that, we need to be putting these systems into place now. Now, what we do with an ambulance, a little different from what you might expect. We're not going to use the ambulance as the evacuation unit. That's not how it works. And by the way, yes, there's a lot of buses out there that work just as well for this purpose. What we are using the ambulance for is as a forward aid station to handle between 10 and 20 casualties at any given time. If we use an ambulance, it will have attached to it a supply and support, transport, and additional ambulance transporters that will be less sophisticated. The advantage of the ambulance is that we have defib technology, we have all of the other equipment, we've got oxygen, we can throw everything on board, any number of them. I would say probably 8 to 10 ambulances, depending on how you count it, and equip them top to bottom with everything needed to get the job done right now. And for that reason, again, I can't emphasize enough, yes, by the way, we are interested. I did see that fire truck, and we are interested in that also. I already contacted them. Thank you. We are interested in fire equipment, too. Part of this is because of certain allied areas of control. We are putting supplemental fire equipment in place. And, yes, we'll take everything and anything we can in the process for that kind of work. There's about 2 or 3 pumper units that are already in motion. We have 6 ambulances set up. Yeah, most of them are established if they're the mid-size or smaller. Easily, those can be set up to be able to, for instance, with mobile folding stretchers to handle 10 casualties, IVs, like I said before, everything in the way of electronics, even EKG. That's really out there in force, and it's a glut on the market with regard to that technology. And most of it is designed to go right into workstations on board these ambulances, so it only takes a second to plug them in and move them on down the road. So that's the agenda. That's the plan. That's where we are right now with what it is that we're doing with the ambulance units. The smaller ones are being established in, again, small unit fire team / support. The larger ones we actually are trying to assign doctors to, which we typically have 1 doctor as a volunteer to 4 or 5 nurses or nurses, designated nurse aid personnel. And everybody, it's their job. We hand them the equipment, they sort it out, they make it work. Now, you guys need to be looking at doing the exact same thing where you are. ASAP. I can't recommend. In fact, everybody goes, well, I can't fight. Well, you can drive a stinking ambulance, and you can help with the casualties. And every one of you, if you can, that can pitch in on something like this, it makes all the difference in the world. I want to say thank you, by the way, to... we just found one for $1,500. James, thank you very much. Right there in Indiana, and we are going to pounce on that one. And in fact, it is a 1995 Ford E150, $1,500. And I will be getting hold of them as soon as I am off the air tonight. This I promise. So very good. And as a matter of fact, exactly what we're looking for. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that help, that input. Fast. Also, again, remember. Excellent. We just got another one. Again, to Jolene. Again, Northern Indiana. Yeah, we're going to find, I think, a lot of these. This is something I have noticed. With Indiana, of course, we have all the coach and carriage companies there. And just like our command posts that we've put together, we have several traveling command posts now stretched, around the state. The traveling command post guys came from their county CPs. All of them are, fully functional, fully operational. And in this case, okay, and a third one. See, this is why I put stuff out on the air. Thank you. For Jason, greatly appreciate that. And that's in Ohio. And again, same year, same model, $1,000 or best offer. Perfect for what we're doing. Okay, as a matter of fact, we're talking an entire, $1,000, everything squared away. So, okay, we're going to get hold of them. We will be doing that also. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, another thing, guys, not just for us, you people need to be doing the exact same thing right now. In your area of operation, if you have a militia unit, I highly recommend that you square the technology away as quick as you can. Now somebody's asking about another thing. What about military ambulance units? Well, I'm going to tell you something. With regard to ambulance rigs, the military ones, not a problem at all. In fact, here's my recommendation. Some of you guys listening were medics in the military. You know what I'm talking about. The military ambulances are pretty well not established in the same way that you see a regular service ambulance out on the road. They are stripped bare bone. They're designed to throw the casualty in and get them from the aid station or forward medical area to a second location, okay? Forward MASH or ambulatory / evacuation / fill in the blank. Could be any number of things. So with that being the case, most all of the, in fact, regular pickup trucks, crew cabs are actually the best. Crew cab, 8-foot bed, make great evacuation packages, okay? You've got long bed, handles a stretcher without any problem. You can put a topper on the back, put a cap on the back. In fact, there's a number of different sizes, including models that give you almost full stand-up. And remember, the idea is we stabilize the patient. The ambulance is the core element unit. They've done the basic stability, may keep them breathing. They don't bleed to death. Treat for shock. Find any body parts, strap them to the guy's chest, get him on a stretcher, push him to the rear, get him out of the area of operation. And this is something that can be repeatedly done, ad nauseum if you've got the organization in place beforehand. And I highly recommend that everybody take the time, plug in, and work to get something like this in place. The nicer the ambulance, obviously, or I should say the newer it is, or I should say more recently brought off service, probably the more... Yes, thank you. Okay, and yet another one, and that one's in Pennsylvania. So, good. We will. And I want to say thank you. Every time you guys respond, this is a timely response. This is why, again, we are loaded up on the network right now. I know that. We're pretty close to capacity, or maybe on capacity with a couple of our listening sites. Guys, don't give up. Shift sideways. In fact, I recommend if you're listening in one form, you best be looking at another, because you may come in a little late, or if more people hook up to our system, what's going to happen is you're the one who can't get in. You're the one who may get bumped, so to speak, only because you just can't get bumped. You can't bump somebody else in to do what you want to do, okay? So, again, take the time and look at the other parts of the system that we have in play and attach yourself accordingly to the system. Experiment. Test to see what works for you. How's that sound? And, again, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Very good. Next, with regard to trailers, somebody's asked, well, utility cargo trailers that are boxed in are your best choice, but there's a number of different solutions you can go with. However, there's a glut. There is a surfeit of cargo trailers right now for very reasonable prices. In fact, even those that are brand new have a whole bunch of odds and ends laying in the yard right now, typically that are last year's models, which is another solution. You get a brand new trailer, just get last year's model or the year before. Take advantage of what's sitting there and pull it in, go over it. Congratulations, there's your logistics support train, which will have spare oxygen, bulk on bandages, bulk on any other perishables, which is in all categories of medical supply, and on to business, and take care of it that way. So we've got a lot of work we can do, and any one of you can be creative. And, of course, it is Communications Tuesday, so let's not forget. Meanwhile, each of these rigs should have a CB, a 2-meter radio. Take your pick of whatever else you want to go in VHF, UHF, and some other operating system. But, again, the base system 2-meter radios, again, base type / vehicle mount, not just little handhelds. These vehicles typically are set up for multi-service monitoring. Most of the ambulances are. They have the electronics, everything is there. There's a ready rack. So all you have to do is install what it is that you feel you want to commit to. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you absolutely want to commit to CB. You absolutely want to commit to marine radio. You absolutely want to have 2-meter radio. Guys, these 3 are out there in force. FRS is a given. That's something we've already mentioned. And needless to say, then, there are other options in the VHF, UHF, FM, AM range. The standard for your area of operation is what is the consideration. What does your unit do? Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Establish a standard / SOP, stick to it, get it done. I still got radios I'm working on right now. In fact, if I were not on the air right now, I'd be soldering stuff today. As it is, I'll be doing that late till the wee hours of the morning, but it will be done tonight, finishing anything that I have left in the way of hardwire radio equipment that's got to go into play because it needs to be done. We don't have any time left. We're at the end of June. The enemy is in motion in our government. The enemy is in motion that's on the street that was put there by our government. They're all our enemies. There's no solution. There's no help coming from down the road. Okay? Anything coming down the road is coming down the road to parasite on your hind end. Okay? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. With regard to maintenance trucks, basically the military calls them support vans or maintenance vans. You know, there's a number of different titles. Yes, there are a bunch of tool trucks. I kicked myself in the hind end. There are some phenomenal deals that show up down there in Texas. I almost had 2 maintenance Dodge Ram maintenance trucks with Hemis, $1,500 a piece. Actually, there was a whole little cluster of them. I should have gotten them all. In the situation we're in right now with what we need, should have got them all. But as it is, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's after the fact. I'm watching now we got a couple of headhunters looking for what it is that we want to add to the inventory. Now, this has to do with transportation, because I've talked about medical units ago. It's not just fighting units. Now, here's the thing. All of you need to be ready to fight. All of you need to be squared away. You need to make sure that you have your weapon systems in hand, NBC, nuclear, biological, and chemical defense, and all the rest of the technology. Anyway, tell you what we're going to do. We're way past the top of the hour. We are at 6:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, now don't give up or panic. But what it means is that we have to take a break. God bless our republic. Death to the New World Order. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The empire is on the run. We're in the march. We'll be back right here in a few minutes, but we are going to take a break, and it is Communications Tuesday.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12 gauge autoloader,
Sure.
the 45 long slide
Yep.
with laser sighting,
You betcha.
the Uzi 9mm,
Yes, sir.
phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay, they'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
Now you can feel that squeaky clean sensation like none other with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash is a unique natural formula not found in any other oral care products. With a gentle combination of zinc, folic acid, myrrh, and clove oil, Vitamer effectively whitens teeth, removes plaque, and freshens breath, and it does it naturally without any harmful chemicals. Visit us online at Vitamer.com. That's VITAMYR.com. Or call us today to place your order at 1-888-558-8482. That's 1-888-558-8482. Keep your teeth and gums healthy with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer, nature's answer to healthy teeth and gums. And remember, it's all completely natural. Available at participating health food stores nationwide.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we hoped you to always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun, permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper, so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm, so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm, and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn. And your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you will fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand, defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As as I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you. And God bless this republic.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second hour of the afternoon intelligence report. I'm Mark Quirky. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, southwest, east, northeast, and south. Ladies and gentlemen, you were listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com, IndianaFreedomRadio.com, in memoriam, along with AM and FM micro stations, CB base stations, and Ultranet, Hallmark, and Golden Spike Technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon and evening to all of our friends out there around the clock, whether it's midnight or midday. It is 6:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here at the bottom of the state of Michigan. It's Communications Tuesday. It's the 30th of June. It is the end of the month, by the way, for June, so we're headed into July right now. It's coming up right around the corner. And, of course, 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K, 2020 Old Earth calendar, 2020 year of conflict, year of betrayal, year of the dance of swords. And here we go. So, talking about ambulance and transports, guys, tactical trucks, I cannot emphasize enough right now, upgrade to tactical armor. If you don't know how to sandbag a truck, you better go, figure out and do a little, creative mind searching. Sandbags are the cheapest way for you to armor something up quick. And if you don't have a combat engineer fortifications manual or, again, defense manual, you might go read up a little bit. One sandbag will do a whole hell of a lot of stopping. Pickup trucks are especially great for this because pickup trucks and dump trucks are designed to carry tonnage, which means you can add a lot of junk to them, and you end up with a lot of defensive potential. So pickup trucks being armored are actually the easiest and best way to go for the least amount of concern with regard to whether or not you've created a slug tug. Now, if I have to do that, I'll do it anyway. Anything I need to armor, I'm not really worried about the super speed. I need push and I need motion. I want to go forward. I am a shark. I'm an offensive driver. I need to think accordingly. So, everybody, prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Get out there, get organized, and get the job done. With transportation, I recommend that you, again, build first a base truck and come up with a truck standard for your unit. Everybody get a pickup truck. Try to get the same model and the same year or bracket of years for commonality of parts between the vehicles. It's like looking at the ambulances here. One of the things I just noticed with the three that were given, I had that little break, $1,500 for one, $1,000 for the other, $1,400 for the third. All three are within a year of each other in terms of the truck package itself, which in this case turns out to be a Ford, and all consistent for parts. Now, they are the van front ends. I understand. Guys, worked on and wrenched on vehicles all my life. Vans are obnoxious, but the Fords offer more front nose space than all of the others that have been out there for quite some time. making the Fords, even the older Fords from the 70s, very user-friendly by comparison because most all of the engine is still accessible from under the hood, or at least a good chunk of it. A long nose is better still, personally, simply because pickup truck. And like we said earlier, you pick out an ambulance package. Guess what? Whatever ambulance package truck, front end you get, determines what other trucks you invest into your fleet for your medical unit. That's what you should be thinking. In other words, if I end up with a Chevy front end, then all the rest of the trucks should be Chevy front end, Silverado, same year, within the years that all the parts are compatible, including the engine packs, trans, all that nonsense. You want to make sure that you have a user-friendly, parts-compatible system, and you start building up spares. I do this with all the Chevys that I run, and I'm always watching for more stuff that people want to give away, especially in the freebie section, like at Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, or just stuff that shows up on the street. Again, anything that is integratable, body parts, tune-up kits, injectors, depending on what it is and what year it is, could be carbs, and you want to start piling up reserves. And this is why one of the vehicles that should be in your medical column is a field maintenance truck. There's all kinds of those floating around out there, or boxes and ass ends for such. They are a useful and wise investment because we have to have mobility, but we also need to be able to maintain that mobility in the field. And between onboard compressors, all the necessary tools, spare tires, even spare significant components, we can recover pieces of equipment fast and turn them around, and that should be your mission. If you're serious about this, then to make this your ultimate, really a lot of fun hobby. It's a lot of fun. You can, first of all, build the vehicle up, dust it off, give your medical people the opportunity to, tell you what they need on the inside, finish patching up anything or attaching anything that needs to be there, give them the fixtures that they need. Now, that may save your life here in this war that's coming up right now, okay? Not may, probably will, provided that they can get to you fast enough. Now, if you get the rest of your people trained, you're going to be in pretty good shape, but you got to be focused. You need to accomplish the mission now. You need to be on target now, in gear. One of the other things, yes, a lot of the other people have already repurposed ambulances, and they're already out there. Here's another thing we use ambulances for. Several of our people have converted them into communications command posts. They're already tactified. They've already got them camoed out, but because when you deploy, there's a lot of work that needs to be done around the vehicles. One of the neat things about an ambulance is it has all the illumination and lighting so that they can support a crash site or a casualty area. What's really cool is you zip on the lighting, pull out all the masks, hook everything up, shut everything down, reduce your signature, spread out your camo net, and you're finished. In fact, if you can't use the white lighting because you're in tactical, well, guess what? We can also go IR if we need to with some of the lighting panels, et cetera, et cetera. But yes, that is another option. Somebody's asking, well, this is communications. What about communications? It's Tuesday. Well, there you go. I like the idea of using the mobile, the mobile home campers. They can be converted really well, and they do serve 24-hour mount. In other words, if you're going to be doing radio work, I would point out you'll also be a bullet magnet in the next war. You do know that, right? No matter what you do with communications, this is why you need to minimize, but you also need to be mobile. Because of that, in advance, start figuring out how you can make yourself as readily mobile as possible so that you can turn yourself around in the shortest time possible. Okay, now another thing, somebody's asking, what about U-hauling up? Yes, I have mentioned that before. U-Haul does sell vehicles. I don't know what their price range is, and they go back and forth. U-Haul, whatever companies you have out there that sell, Ryder trucks, when they're done with them at a certain point, yes, they do market them out. Sometimes they auction them. Sometimes they're over-the-counter sales. It depends on where you are in the country. So that is another option. In fact, the smaller Ryder trucks would make phenomenal emergency evacuation ambulance packages. Lightweight, they minimize the materials. It's very quick and easy to slide people in and out. You can put the actual military ambulance stretcher racks on board, and you can be carrying more than a few people out of an area of operations simultaneously. Still have all the space for all the oxygen, plasmas, anything else you might need because of supplemental medical supplies for casualties. This is something that needs to be in play now. Another thing on communications, since you're using commo vans or you set up commo trucks or commo trailers, don't forget to have lots of spares in terms of the perishables that you may deploy that you're hoping to recover but may not. Now, I'm going to mention this again, wire. If you're going to be setting up any kinds of antennas, sometimes you're just not going to have time to recover what you assembled. Snip it and leave it, or in other words, disconnect it and leave it. Now, sometimes it's just a good thing. You leave it leave it in place. It's in an obscure location. You can come back and hook up. You just double what you do before you hook up and put power down the line. Make sure you inspect your antenna. Make sure nothing's grounded out. Ensure that all the connectors are where they should be. The insulators are where they should be, because you can do wire antennas anywhere and leave them and just go from point to point to point to point to point. And you don't have any downtime. All you do is drag out your leads, connect them to the radio, to the rig, and then you start sending signal. Now you time yourself, and then you unask the AO, and you head to the next objective. You have another location you need to be. Congratulations, be there. So there are many solutions with regard to wheeled technology. Here's another thing, fuel. Yeah, fuel doesn't change. It's always going to be a problem. So you better make sure that you have caches of fuel and that you have also POL, petroleum oil and lubricant products. Just had a little boo-boo with one of the trucks here today. Would have required 5 quarts of oil. Fortunately, I was in the right place, right time. But if not, the field repair would have had to have been made. You need to have POL, petroleum oil and lubricant products, on board. And right now, buy the oil, buy the case. The more you buy the case, the cheaper the product is going to be, okay? And as a matter of fact, thank you. Hamilton, Ohio, there is a 1987 F-350 Ford ambulance, $1,300. Gasoline, okay? It has a 460. Trans is good. Everything's excellent. Typical fleet vehicle. And for $1,300, that may already be sold. I've got people just south of me here that will run down and grab that now. That's exactly what we're looking for. Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, also, that is for Calvin in Ohio. Thank you, Calvin. Appreciate sending the message here right away, too. You didn't hesitate. One nice thing about a lot of this equipment is, again, expect the troop area, okay, the driver area. They're in and out all the time. Expect that to, look like it looks like. The basic work areas where you're going to be operating, pretty straightforward and simple, and because these were fleet inspected, etc., they have to meet certain standards. Everything is pretty well where it should be, I've noticed. The only thing we might change, the only thing it really is simple to change right now, but I wouldn't change it until they burn out. I would buy replacement LEDs for the illumination lighting. I'd still have both. If I got more regular bulbs, I'd grab them, whatever it is, mercury vapor, or if they're using, any number like calcium vapor, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole bunch of different ones they used here. Some of these are hot, some are not. In fact, some are intentionally not supposed to be excessively hot because they're in enclosed spaces. In other words, we don't need to be furnishing the medical area where we're treating people. So there's different types of bulbs that are used for different service areas, externally and internally. Well, we can change that out to LED if you want to. Remember that LED is more sensible because it's a light-emitting diode. LED is more susceptible to EMP, more so than anything else. It is susceptible to EMP. Don't you forget that. Don't say somebody didn't warn you about it, too, because that's where you are. As a matter of fact, I'm even sending a notice up because I'm so interested in what I'm seeing here. It will probably be gone tomorrow. I'm going to make sure it's with us today. And again, can't thank you enough. You guys are doing a good job today. Thank you. I appreciate it. We got a lot of extra listeners. I know we got a lot of people piled up, and some people are getting pushed over into the other system, our listening systems. Guys, we also could use more reflectors right now. It's Communications Tuesday. You can pick up and then become a source, a listening point. You can do this on YouTube. You can do this on any number of different social media sites. We do need that. Even if all you can do is handle another 100 listeners, we're loading up our system. This is why I had somebody say, well, I had a tough time getting on, I got bumped again. Not so much bumped as, guess what, couldn't get on in the first place. Go ahead, Edward, jump in there, please.
We've actually been covering this topic quite a bit on the militia town hall meetings on Fridays. Also, where I've been trying to help Daryl get Braveheart Radio up and running. There's, I don't know if you want to call it a tutorial. Some of the audio has been blocked by YouTube on one of them, where me and Daryl were trying to get his system going, which is why we're up on YouTube. Honestly, if it wasn't for Phyllis, trying to get me together with Daryl to get his YouTube going, we wouldn't be up on YouTube right now. So everybody can say thank you to Phyllis for putting the fire under my arse, to get that going. It is not something that I typically wanted to do because I know the problems with YouTube removing stuff, but it is giving us another spot for the archives where we've been having problems with the archives. So you guys can go back and look at the stuff that's over there. The live programming, I know people have asked me to update the text files on those. I got to figure out how to do that. Like I said, I haven't messed with YouTube in a while. I've kind of let you and Vincent take care of that. So doing a live stream though at the same time, where we got the fiber optic here now, it's possible to do that with all the other streams. But like I said, that's one of the reasons why we've been having some mistakes on my end. Is I've stretched my multitasking out even farther. I'm already dealing with the conference line, the two other streams, YouTube on top of that, the Discord, and all the other fun stuff that we have to take care of while the program's going on. It gets taxing on one person when your attention is stretched over that big a space. And we'll ask for help in one area, and people will tell us, well, it's sounding just fine over there. Except the over there is not the area that we're trying to, get the repair done on. And it can be confusing sorting that out when you have multiple ways to tune in and listen. But My Mix Radio has been in the Discord. They have their own internet stream. They rebroadcast us sometimes. They've been helping with the discussion that we've been having on the town hall meeting about setting up more communications like this. There's some software. If you scroll back through the militia town hall meeting section and you look for the discussion on broadcasting either over the internet, micro AM, FM, shortwave, CB, we've covered a gambit of areas, and we've covered free software, ways to do this relatively for free. There's still a cost. There's always a cost in doing this. There's time, which is like the biggest cost. People don't realize how much time you got to put into it. And then you still have utilities, and you have the cost of your connection, and you have to test it, make sure that everything is working from time to time, and try to get feedback from everybody. And when you're doing multiples, it just can get confusing at times, and trying to, peel the onion back to make sure you're working on the part that you're working on.
And again, for everybody out there, we do have still some space. Probably YouTube is one of the directions to go. You should be able to find some space to listen in there.
YouTube is fairly new. You guys can go over there and tune in. As I understand it, if you get in before they flag us for if we are using certain music, they may flag us, or if we use, if they think the content is whatever, they're gonna flag us and get delisted. But we do post a link into the Discord usually. I haven't done that yet because, like I said, I'm multitasking, so I'm someplace else. Somebody could do that for me. But yeah, YouTube is a way to go. It's an enemy source right now, but as Dad says, use it while we got it before we lose it. So as long as it's working, I'm going to keep using it. As soon as it stops working, we'll find another avenue to go to. In fact, we're already working on a couple of other streams that are free services that we could access and put up. The only reason I'm not doing it right now is, again, it's that multitasking thing. I know I'm at the limit where I'm at right now dealing with the 5 ways to listen that we have right now.
And again, we've got plenty of opportunities. We do have, so we should be able to find a way to lock in. If you're listening again and you've had problems, be prepared to switch out as you try to get into the programming by studying and testing application. In other words, getting into what it is, whatever area you want to try as a backup, as a way to get, into listen to Liberty Tree Radio. There's plenty of opportunities out there. And as a matter of fact, again, it's purely a matter of, first of all, I will remind everybody, your system may be the problem, not ours. This is something we do need to address again. It's one of those things where unfortunately, well, again, it's the nature of the 21st century and the turds that we have in the system. Guys, they're blocking this nonsense and have been for, quite some time now. And it's not an if, it's just a when they were going to start fiddle-farting with the rest. The communists are showing their red and yellow colors. And this is why we have to have alternative solutions already in motion. We need to be prepared now for what it is we know is on the horizon, very, very close. Not even on the horizon, just in the block. It's in the neighborhood now. It's pretty well finished as far as the whether or not we're going to war. It's now a matter of when it's going to kick off. This weekend looks to be very likely because, again, the 4th of July weekend, they're not going to have another critical holiday until the end of the summer. This, of course, with the waning of, let's just say, motivation on the part of the knuckle dragus baboonus maximus to attack the population. They need to do it sooner rather than later to keep the momentum up, and because they can utilize external resources, the Mossad, other foreign agents inside the country. They've done it before. We've explained it to everybody. Now we're going to remind you again, this is the way the world works. This is what you need to be ready for. Okay, so prior proper planning prevents piss-poor performance. And we are not going to get caught flat-footed on any of this, okay? Another thing real quick, if we are looking at communications, batteries, and more batteries, you'll know I harp on this. I can't emphasize enough. Any battery is better than no battery. So even if you go over to the Dollar Tree and buy a whole bunch of their red and white Sylvanias or whatever they have, there's a new one that's like blue with black. It's the same price, and it feels like it's the same weight battery, and I don't think there's any real difference between the two. It's just another flavor of the same product, but whichever one seems to be in stock for the most, for the least, you need more batteries. Most of your FRS battery, your radios, for instance, that take AAAs, are energy sippers. That is the one thing that is a big advantage. We have already tested out the cheapy batteries that you get at Dollar Tree, and we've run them for 24 hours nonstop. Well, that's pretty stinking good for a dollar store kind of battery to begin with. And it's been pretty consistent. In other words, for 5, 6, or 7 radios, or when we've been traveling cross country, we use the FRS radios for test, and you leave them on for monitoring. And again, no matter what configuration, with or without the throat mic or the headsets or whatever, or just handheld and just using the existing mic pickup, they consistently work at the same consumption level. Now, a little better battery will probably buy you a couple more hours of life, maybe 3 or 4. But the good batteries will actually have a stronger and maintain a stronger charge longer before they start to trickle, and then they do that last spike where you get just a little additional energy, and then they're gone. Some people don't want you to recommend you not run the batteries to the end, but I firmly believe that use them up, burn them up. If there's anything left, put them in your LED lighting. It's amazing how much power you can still get, or what little juice is there, or what it'll do for just one LED Dollar Tree light device. You'll get another couple days worth of use out of a dead battery, or almost dead battery. So that's a good thing. Another thing is, as mentioned with lighting, guys, there's a whole bunch of IR stuff out there that is reasonably priced that you can pick up, or at least IR lenses, even infrared laser. I recommend having those in the inventory, but part of that is for deception. We're not supposed to be bright, therefore we want to make the bad guys believe if you're trying to set them up, drag somebody in, or get them to perform, you need to have a certain amount of other tech in inventory, and it needs to be part of your bag of tricks tech. This is also true of countermeasures and transmission deception technology, something we've talked about for years. If you're late coming to the game, don't worry, we'll probably touch on a little bit more, maybe even this hour, but deception technologies include using older transmitters or transceivers that we have that are on their last legs, and utilizing them as target transmitters for enemy countermeasures. This is a way to sucker in either personnel and or waste technology time, artillery, tracking and tracing technology. Remember, if you tie them up in one direction, they're on a mission. They can't be in 2 places at once. They can perform one task. Certainly they can overlap with others depending on how far up the chain they are. But when it comes to actually tracking down or performing, remember the countermeasures people, there are only so many, and once you can ambush and execute them, there aren't any more. Eventually, the wretched machine, as Alexander Solzhenitsyn said, the wretched machine, for lack of operatives and equipment, will grind to a halt. And the basic rule across the board, we're hunting them harder than they think they are hunting us. Right now, that is the situation. And it's like I said, we're looking for a certain problem. We will acquire them. When we do, we're not giving them back to anybody. And that's how everybody needs to be thinking in terms of, well, we're at war. They've come out. We're going to play. We're going to find out more about the infrastructure of the enemy, and sooner rather than later, because we have to be fast on our feet with regard to this issue. Okay? So think ahead. Another thing, yes, I'll repeat this one more time. Somebody's asking, what about buses, little buses? Like there's lots of metro buses. We had this conversation this weekend, by the way, too. Yes, the metro buses and a lot of the other bus packages that are out there would work just fine for what we're talking about doing for ambulance or at least for transportation. Now, I would point out one of the things that here's something that somebody was pointing at this week and looking at one of the Facebook ads in Facebook Marketplace. The metro buses, you can get them for $2,000, $1,500, $1,700, $2,100. Nobody wants them. They're kind of a goofy, odd item because they have a chairlift. Guys, if you have to move munitions, you do realize that chairlift can handle so many hundreds of pounds. That chairlift and a two-wheel dolly means that you actually have a lifting system to get up to the platform area without complication. You can still add a ramp. But for a lot of what you do, you want to do the side point delivery, those ready rack systems that are actual lift systems for metro buses, for wheelchairs. Well, just think pallets of ammo. Think about how many places where you'll be wanting to drop off or move munitions and you need something that's a little more efficient. That's a great way and a very economical way to keep everything high, dry, and clean. For delivery purposes, it's also a very efficient way to get stuff where you need to get it when the time comes. Something to consider, something to think about there. This is too bad. Somebody had an M880 ambulance, but man, they took it off into the woods, and I have no idea what condition it's in. It's been abused. Prior proper planning. Again, somebody really abused what was a decent truck. Yes, military ambulances, I'll say again. Yes, it's an option, but sometimes if they're really, really gone, you do minimal, you fix them up enough, consider them acceptable losses when the time comes, use them until you can't, and then kick them off to the side of the road, pull all the perishables off, get on down the road to whatever else you need to do. So just a heads up there. And on that note, remember the two most common are, I'll say three. The M880 Dodge Ram truck uses a 318. The M35, or forgive me, M34 3/4 ton uses a flathead six-banger engine. Some had fours, not all, but some. And those, of course, are a unique engine, but the good thing is you can trade those out for a more sophisticated, smaller diesel or another gas overhead cam system, okay? The other is the M715 ambulances, which are built like a brick dog house and predate the M880. That's on the the Jeep Wagoneer. And those three are the most common that you're going to see laying around right now in a military ambulance. Again, they're a transporter. If it looks like you're going to sink a lot of money into those, you're better off going with a pickup truck. That's all it is. Set it up just like the same as that ambulance as a transporter. That'll settle that real quick. And keep it simple, stupid. Again, remember, cheaper. If I can buy a handful of Ford pickup trucks or vans for about $1,500 or $1,200, I'm not going to cry so much when I lose them, but they're more than serviceable enough for what we're talking about doing. Another thing here real quick is in light with, I better mention that. We only got so much time. Gas mask. Get a gas mask. Get a gas mask. Get a gas mask. Get a gas mask. Repeat. Get a gas mask. Okay? There are a number of options out there. Maine Military does have some gas masks on hand. Again, www.mainemilitary.com. And also, and I've seen some stuff on Bud K. You know what? I'm going to go to Bud K real quick. They're not cheap, or as cheap as they were. But Bud K does have some gas masks. Nobody is cheap right now. I went to the wholesaler that they're all buying from. Available inventory is non-existent. There are 2 models presently available from the wholesale end. So all the stuff has been cleaned off the shelves up to a certain degree from the wholesale and the importer. I'm trying to find out more. Again, I should probably have an email in the pile here when I get off the air today for the 7 to 8 break. I'm going to be going through all that real quick, and I'll track down and see what it is we have available, and then I'll let you know. But as far as gas masks go, you don't need to go through me. You can go right to all these sources, www.mainemilitary.com, mainemilitary.com. When you go there, you're going to have a number of different subsections, and one of them is emergency disaster. Nope, that's not one for. Here we go. Gas mask and chemical. Okay. I don't think well, it looks like, they have been eaten up. Yes, they have. Well, they still do have product, though. And I'm not going to cover it here on the air. It's your job. You're looking for gas masks. Other than the fact that, again, pretty much everything that they're offering is in service, is useful. There are, of course, some that are being posted that are not available. If it says buy, that means you can buy it. If not, it's out of stock, okay? So take a look at what's available, but get a gas mask, get a gas mask, get a gas mask now. If you think you need the latest space-age whiz-bang model and you've got the money for that, I'm not going to slow you down. However, most of you are not made of cash because the cash is all withdrawn with what's been going on with the national economy that's been intentionally gutted by the pigs in Washington, D.C., and the traitors that are in our government, and those that are enemy operatives working through the Federal Reserve. Now, because of that, what you can find that's less expensive makes more sense for most of what you're doing. So, again, get up to some degree in every category we talk about. Medical support, weapon systems, personal armor. Same with gas masks. Get something on the shelf. Get something in service and know how to use it. You can progressively upgrade, and then whatever you already have is a backup, is an auxiliary, is available. When the time comes, you've got more. You might be able to share that way. Somebody else will have a gas mask who might be sucking vapors and turning blue in front of you because you don't have enough to go around. They'll probably be scrabbling at you if that happens. Might not like that, might not want to be part of that. So passing out a gas mask would probably be a good idea. Okay, so there's an option. There is what they call the CM4. Most of the masks are between $25 and $30 for the cheapest. No, it looks like the CM4s are already gone too. I'm sorry. Forgive me for directing you that way. Serbian gas mask, $30. The half that price for the ones over at Gun Parts Corp. I have mentioned many times on the air. Other than that, they do have some children's masks. For those of you who are looking for children's masks, they come with a hose built in, but they do not have a filter with them apparently. Gas mask, filters, accessories, etc. Okay, hold on here. Let's see if it comes with or without. This is a youth Russian gas mask. It is good surplus condition. This mask does not come with a filter. Don't worry, any 40-millimeter filter will work. Does not have a hose. Does not. Oh, wait a minute. But does have a hose. Forgive me, slight mark on the microphone there. Does have hose and carrying bag. Additional filters are available. We do not make any claim, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? It's the infant, the children's mask. If you're looking for a small or extra small, remember these are sized also. They're not in the Euro sizing, or I should say the American or Western sizing system. They're in the Euro numerical sizing system because these are Russian, okay? So these are in the numerical 0 through 5. And for the children, they go all the way down to, again, half sizes, and there's a whole system for the children's youth size masks, too, separate from the adult. So, get a gas mask, get a gas mask, get a gas mask. Somebody just asked before about communications with a gas mask. Well, most of your gas masks, even that children's mask, has what is called a voice emitter. So with a gas mask on, unless you've committed to throat mics, which are another option with gas masks, remember that the voice emitter is where you actually would take your microphone and apply it, hold it close to the voice emitter, and it is basically, think about it like a resonator. What it is a vibraphone. It actually translates and accentuates whatever it is that you're saying and projects it beyond the mask, okay? And again, that's a voice emitter is what they typically are called. Now, some of the Russian stuff, they don't have one. Why? Well, privates don't need to talk. They just need to take orders. Or the civilian population, hey, get over it. At least we got you a gas mask and one for everybody. That's what they do. So, yes, you want to make sure that you have spare wherever you can. And some masks, of course, are more equal than others, as they say. But a gas mask is better than none. Example, I highly recommend the Russian gas mask, although it comes with no filter. The Russian gas mask, no filter, $7 a piece. Why? Well, most of you, if you're using the 40-millimeter filter systems, that takes a 40-millimeter mask filter. For $7, what I do with that mask is I put it as a spare in my backpack. The Russian possum masks or East German masks or whichever model I carry as a spare mask for myself. But it's not just a spare. If I have somebody else that I'm recovering or somebody else that needs assistance, I have the ability to provide a second mask, but it's minimal. This is a minimalist weight system. Minimalist. But you know what? Better than sucking vapors. So for anybody out there, understand that these are solutions. The Polish MP3 mask is comparable. The Polish MP3 comes with a can, comes with a hose, everything's there. Whereas the Russian gas mask, the one they're offering right next to it at mainmilitary.com, doesn't come with a filter. You're going to have to round one up, but there are 40-millimeter filters out there, and if you shop around, you don't necessarily have to buy just at Maine, okay? There are other locations. Shop around, find the best price, that's what you commit to. But you need a gas mask for every family member. Now, I know somebody's immediately asking about chem suits. That's a mix. Ideally, yes, it'd be great if you did invest in them, but you may not be able to find what you need or find affordable. Tactical chem suits have been available for quite some time. Whatever's out there is out there by basically what we've seen. The Czech ones are actually the ones most common to find, that you're most likely to find one for everybody. They are absolute throwaways. Don't think that they're going to be reused and reused and reused. It's kind of like the face masks you're all being told by the government to wear. You're not supposed to use those over and over again. You're supposed to use those once and throw them away. That's why they're disposable. But nobody, of course, is doing that because, well, that would be expensive. Yeah, well, you see, that's the problem with government. You see, they're giving you a half-assed solution and with a, half-assed explanation because they're half-assed to begin with. Worthless turds. So anyway, invest in the gas mask. Now, next, with regard to a lot of what we're seeing with the attacks that are taking place, here's another thing. You're going to see more incendiary. Fire extinguishers. If you can't afford a lot of fire extinguishers, here's two things to remember. If things start to escalate in your area, family members should all be understood that the discipline of filling everything up with water that you possibly can needs to be a priority. If you got stove burners, but the biggest pans you got, fill them with water. Fill the pans with water on the stove. Stove can handle the weight, designed to do so. Fill up all bathtubs, fill up all sinks, flush all toilets. Fill up any containers you can find that you can put water in. In addition, although a 5-gallon pail is cool, the biggest problem is, can you lift a 5-gallon pail full of sand? If you are going to make up sand buckets, make sure that they are manageable. It has to be, remember, sand, if you have incendiary devices, guys, one of the things that you use sand for is to suffocate the flame, deny oxygen, retard the burn, okay? When government uses, for instance, tear gas, as they call it. They're not shooting tear gas. They're firing an incendiary to burn your house down. It's all a lie about it, the tear gas. Throw that out the window. It has nothing to do with anything. It's their way of being able to do a flame device that's burning at high temperature. It goes through a window, lands near a curtain or a sofa that's usually right there near or in front of the window. This is a combustible. It continues to burn as long as there's oxygen. If you have something like that that comes into the house, you need sand buckets. You can use planters, make it look like they're, use artificial flowers for the camouflage. Girls, you've got all kinds of artsy-fartsy ways you can make wraparounds for the buckets, be they 5-gallon or smaller. And you can camouflage your fire safety equipment, but you need it now. Remember that the government employee Antifa and the government employee Black Lives Matter trash, which are attacking you from below, are just as likely to use incendiaries as their federal government and government police counterparts, who all perceive all of us as the enemy, because we are producers, and the parasites from above and the parasites from below hate us. Don't worry, we understand that. With regard to sand buckets, ideally metal would be best, but hey, you're not going to probably be able to find enough of that, and you got enough things on your mind. Get some basic playground sand. A lot of places, if you have quarries nearby or if you have an old sand pit, you can find the sand you need for free. But if not, go to Maynard's or, Menards, or to Lowe's, or to, again, Home Depot / Home Depot, and go into their gardening section and look for broken bags. You can get them for half price. They're doing real punk-a-junk baggage for all of their stones and sand and rock, so you can get bags of sand for like 90 cents. So if you're looking for a real sandbox / leveling sand or whatever, grab that. And then you put that into the buckets. Congratulations, you've got a firefighting device. Didn't cost you much of anything other than mostly the time to figure it out with your brain and, follow through. And while you're going over there to the garden center, pick up the bags while you're at it. Make sure each site has a different way of how you have to have them marked down. But, again, make a deal. That'll get them off the yard. They'll be happy. They get them out of the way. People aren't too excited about it. A lot of people aren't really jumping on it now like they were because nobody has as much money. But at the very least, because of that, also you might be competing with a few people in your area. But you can access this stuff for little to nothing. Ideally, watch for, like I said, the old sand quarry. If you got one that's nearby, an old sand pit where you can go out and just use the sand right there, as long as it looks like it's, sand. I don't care what brand of sand, that sand will do, okay? And again, the idea is to smother flame. Another thing, with regard to mean things that you can do, that same 5-gallon pail drop from a second, third, or fourth floor window is a great way to thud somebody trying to come through the front door of maybe your offices or apartments. So having, bricks, blocks, 5-gallon pails of sand where you just, hang it, let it go. It comes down, crushes them from above, does damage, horrible damage, hurts them. You can also do scalding or boiling water. I like that one, especially at night, because it'll be pretty hard to figure out what's coming until it's too late. And when they do, it's like, ouch, 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 ouch. So boiling water, if you have somebody who is innovative, sprinklers or a water system over entrances with a hot water system that preferably is tuned up. You do remember you can tune up your hot water heater, right? You don't want to do this because you can scald and burn within a matter of 3 to 5 seconds. You've got to really be careful. 5 to 7 is the average, but you can torque it right up there. You can bring it right up to max. Well, just imagine some shower heads over top of an entrance area, and all you do is turn on the hot water and walk away, and the supercharger and everything does the rest. You don't have to shoot, and it doesn't make a whole lot of noise, but it sure as hell is going to make a lot of screaming down below and a lot of thrashing and people wanting not to be right there, typically not wanting to be anywhere near where they don't have a clue where it really came from. In darkness, which they figure they're using as cover, you can use this as a great way. And by the way, secret police operating the same way, you can boil them in their gear. So if they think they're going to kick the door in, they're coming for the guns, and they kick the door in because they're going to play police state, and down the road they're going to kick the door in because you didn't wear a mask, and they're going to kick the door in because they are going to demand national ID cards, well, then you boil them. they're all your enemy. They're all going to work for the commies on the other side. The cops are going to be right there side by side with Antifa, competing over who's going to steal your stuff and try to lord over you first and piss in your face or on your back. There's no relief coming from that direction. Either one of them, they're both your enemy. And they're both going to be treating you as the enemy, and that's already being demonstrated by their lack of action in places like Minnesota, in places like Seattle, in St. Louis, in Atlanta. Go right down the shopping list. Failure after failure after intentional failure after intentional failure. Now, we're almost to the top. A couple more things here real quick. You want to put some systems together? Oh, thank you. Now, don't worry about that little mini Naga. It's a really cool rifle, but it's $300. Over at centerfiresystems.com, Turkish Mauser, okay, Turkish Mauser. For those of you who haven't heard, they have a Turkish Mauser. It's a barreled action with trigger group, with magazine well. All you need is a stock of some kind. Right now, they're available, and they are $150 a piece. They still have them. Oop. I'm going to make sure, because you know what? I told you that this happened to us before. All right, well, they still have 101 of them available. Now, this is an antique Turkish Ottoman Mauser, 1893, complete barreled assembly with sights, trigger group, magazine well, everything's intact, bolts there. This is a functioning but, pre-1898 firearm. It's an 8mm Mauser. What I would use in this is Privy Partisan ammo from AIM Surplus. AIM Surplus, AIM Surplus. I just directed some of my listeners today that, I talked to you personally off the air here in town. AIM Surplus is a great location for all of the military calibers, obsolete or present, commercial calibers with regard to Privy Partisan. Well, this antique Turkish Ottoman Mauser 1893 complete barrel. That's how it's listed over at Centerfire for $150. I'd use the 150 grain 8mm Mauser ammunition. That's going to keep the pressures down even a little lower and more comfortable. Brand new Boxer Prime non-corrosive. They do have 200 grain. That's fine. But if you can do the lighter bullet, why not? And that way you're in no way, shape, or form coming near stressing the action at all in any way, shape, or form that you need to worry about. Somebody asked me about the iron sights. To be quite honest, I said B-square sights. You know what? If I can put this thing together for under $200 and then tuck it away because it doesn't require any paperwork, this would be a gun to buy as is. The big thing is to test spot shoot it, just like anything else. With the Boxer Prime non-corrosive, heat annealed, AIM Surplus, Privy Partisan ammo, it's an excellent solution. We got a caller. Who do we have?
This is Fluffy. I've got a question. If you know what sort of sights are on the Mauser, ladder type or otherwise?
They're standard military iron sights. That's what's really cool. This was already a completed conversion gun. Originally, they were in 7.65 Mauser, which is also a lot of you, it's known as 7.65 Argentine. This is a barreled action that's already been tuned up. It was military issue. Years ago, we used to buy these for $19.95. They dropped them down to $16.95 if they had a cracked stock. And these are no FFL required, but they are complete except for the stock. And by the way, there are a number of tricks if you're familiar. This is a small ring Mauser. This is not a large ring Mauser. So you can get this to fit in a number of other stocks, provided that the cross support bar is where it's supposed to be and everything lines up. So if you're looking for for instance, there is a Zytel nylon stock made for this rifle. I have seen it listed, but the two companies out there that had it, they're out of stock, at least they are. But that means that somewhere in the system, somebody's got a brand new Zytel nylon sporter type stock that will drop right onto this. So, and it's out there. So the neat thing is that all you have to do is take that and mate it up with this. Now, you might find something at a gun show. This is a model 1893 Mauser. And what I'd be looking for personally, I'd be looking for a cobbled stock that somebody did a really crappy job sporterizing. Usually people will take those off. They end up in the goodie bin somewhere, or you'll find them. There's a pile of them at one of the rifle companies like we're talking about here, like Centerfire, and you can find them for far less because they're cobbled. They're chopped up in some way. I wouldn't worry about trying to put a military stock on this and matching up the rings, although it is a collector's item also. And if you wanted to do that, you could do it gradually, so it'd be an investment. But the big thing here is another rifle that you can put in place, and it is an 8mm Mauser. It'll kill you dead, dead, dead. Of course, the 7.65 will kill you dead, 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 too. So it would work as a serviceable arm. And there's I don't know how many of these are out there. I mean, seriously, there were so many sold back when they, in the 70s and 80s after the Gun Control Act of '68. But there's got to be a million of them out there, if not more. I mean, I don't know how many I've seen in my lifetime at the gun shows, and they went out the door and they just didn't come back. That's about the time when these things came in and they were cheap. People weren't bringing them back to the gun show to resell, just as a heads up. Anyway, we're at the top again. We don't want to go and cut into the other hour. We're at 7:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, everybody out there, Ed taking over, more LTR coming up, but I'm going to get out of the way. Let me see if I can catch up with our emails. Thank you to all you guys responding to the ambulance request almost immediately. All that's been put into request for response, and we'll see what we get back in the next hour or two. For all of you, God bless the Republic. Yes, to the New World Order. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire's on the run.
And we are on the march both day and night. Kill them all.
Hoorah! Kick up the slats, beat them down hard, don't let them get back up. Let's support that couple. They may be flaming the leftists and the guy's wearing a pink polo shirt, but at least he got his act together and defended his property. I know a lot of wusses who haven't. We'll see you in a little bit. We'll be back at 8 o'clock. God bless. Bye-bye.
Shine on the old Liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. March along with the Piper boys, we were born forever free. Let's go pay the Piper boys beneath the Liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Pay the price they're asking, boys, always pay the tyrant's fee. Never give up the struggle, boys, fight for the Liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Stand for the rights of man, boys, stand against all tyranny. Hang the lance of freedom, boys, high on the Liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. It will grow as we grow, boys, it will be as strong as we. We must cling to our faith, boys, faith in the Liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12 gauge autoloader,
Sure.
the 45 long slide
Yep.
with laser sighting,
You betcha.
the Uzi 9mm,
Yes, sir.
phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay, they'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
Now you can feel that squeaky clean sensation like none other with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash is a unique natural formula not found in any other oral care products. With a gentle combination of zinc, folic acid, myrrh, and clove oil, Vitamer effectively whitens teeth, removes plaque, and freshens breath, and it does it naturally without any harmful chemicals. Visit us online at Vitamer.com. That's VITAMYR.com. Or call us today to place your order at 1-888-558-8482. That's 1-888-558-8482. Keep your teeth and gums healthy with Vitamer toothpaste and mouthwash. Vitamer, nature's answer to healthy teeth and gums. And remember, it's all completely natural. Available at participating health food stores nationwide.